G'day all, something a little bit different today. Paul from 30-second Wing Awning has been very generous and has sent me out a little surprise. So for anyone that knows my channel and knows my Instagram would know that I've been running one of their original 30-second wing awnings on both my vehicles from the Colorado to now the BT50 for approximately the last 6 years. I bought it when they were very new. I've since put another bag on it, added poles to it, added extra cups to it. I've modified things, I've played with things. Absolutely love the awning with everything I've got. Best awning by far I've ever seen. So when he came on and offered me an accessory, the only one that I could think of off the top of my mind was their new Storm Chaser awning. I've ideally wanted one of these since they've been released, probably last year. Just haven't been able to afford it between doing other things to this vehicle and also buying the Defender. But my main goal was always to buy their Storm Chaser 2.7 270 degree awning for the BT50 for all the big trips. And my original 30-second wing awning will be retired to the Defender as a temporary awning for when I go on the harder tracks but still want good amount of shelter and shade. So I'll show you what comes in the 2.7 meter 270 degree Storm Chaser awning straight from the factory, and then we'll get into swapping them over. Straight off the bat, we have the awning itself. Going from there, we have their L brackets that they come with. I unfortunately won't be using these, but they are a very similar design to the ones I have on my vehicle already. But these have already been drilled out and bolted. So instead of using these new ones and reinventing the wheel, I'll just use my original ones that I've got mounted up to my awning at the moment. Other than that, in our little goodie bag, we'll have our guide ropes and our temp pegs. As well as 2 backing plates and our return straps for attaching the awning to the vehicle and pulling it tight. And a nice new set of fixtures for bolting the awning and its brackets in, and 4 guide ropes. So without any further ado, let's put this one to the side and we'll rip my original one off, put it next to this one, and I'll show you how I swap everything over from my existing awning, mounting wise, onto my new awning. So instead of thinking that I've only been running this awning with 2 bolts, I have already removed the 2 bottom ones just to save a little bit of time, and they are in a bit of an awkward position. But we'll get on to removing the rest of it. Since I am doing this alone, I will be, in a way, fixing it to the vehicle so it doesn't automatically spring off as soon as the bolts are released. That one's pretty much finger tight now. Same as the back one. And just like that, the awning comes off. The easiest way I find to do this is with some painter's tape and a texter. So first thing you're going to do is find the rear of your awning. So the rear mount of the awning in theory will be in front of this back plate. Mine is on the back plate, so I'm going to transpose a bit of tape from top to bottom in the location of where it's going to be on the awning. So for anyone that's got the first time doing an awning, you're going to go from at the bracket behind the awning and you're going to go just in front of it. Idea is to have your rear bracket as far back as possible, as that is your cantilever point. So when your awning comes around, and goes across the back of your vehicle, all the stress and the weight is on your rear mount. So that ideally needs to be in the most fundamentally secure and strongest part of your roof rack or your rear frame, as that's where your most amount of stress is going to be in this awning in its freestanding state when you don't have any of the poles down. So I'm going to throw a piece of tape along this back bracket and get in to start measuring some things. So for my rear mount, I'm obviously got the holes here to line up. If you have your bracket as far back here as you can, you're going to then measure from the back of that bracket to your hole. So mine would be 35 millimeters. So again, if you're looking at it on here, you would have the plate there, and this would be your mount. So you would be measuring from that plate 35 millimeters in, and that's where your holes would be. Mine's a little bit different because mine does go over this plate, not for any good reason other than having mine here allowed me to have the back of my awning and the cantilever point as physically close to my tent as possible to keep the weather out. So I'm going to measure from this plate in. Thankfully on this awning I've still got my reference mark as a piece of texture, and then I can transpose that onto my new awning over here. So for me it is still 35 mil. So I'm going to measure in 35 mil from this plate into here and mark it. So I'm obviously very lucky here because I do have an original 30-second awning that I can copy. So I'm going to measure my 35 mil in from the back of this bracket to my center line, which will be something like that and that, and then top to bottom I'm going to draw a line. So that is now my 35 mil from the back of this bracket to there. While I'm at it, I will just measure from the front of the bracket, 80, and there, 80, just to make sure that that is dead up, straight and back. Now that I've done this one, you can kind of feel where the gap is in the rib, which is where the bolt's going to sit, and you can bang a hole through it. These are M8mm bolts. So I think last time I used a drill bit of 9mm just to give you a little bit of space, and also this fabric doesn't necessarily open up to the full 9mm. But just be careful, because if you do go all the way through, you are going to hit the aluminium, and once you do hit that aluminium, don't keep going. You will drill through your awning. So just be very careful and very carefully punch through the outer layer and don't go any further. So now that you've done your rear mount, we're going to crack onto the front one. Best way for doing this will be get your tape measure from your rear mount to your front mount and find centers. Mine looks like it's going to be about 1750. And for me again, because I'm lucky in having the original awning that I can measure off, I will go from bolt to bolt, and that is 1750. So from this point here on your new awning, measure on your tape mark from your rear mount, your 1750 or whatever your measurement is, and put a piece of tape, same as you did on the rear, across the whole awning. Once you have got your tape mark across your awning, measure from your rear line, from center. This will be out of frame, sorry. Put a mark at the bottom. Do the same at the top. It's my 1750 there. And draw a line from the top of your awning to the bottom. Thankfully, because these awnings are so well made, you can generally put a tape measure between the center of your rivet to your line. So that is 285, and again 285. Perfectly straight. The other thing you can do, because there is an aluminium backbone, is grab yourself one of your set squares, and line it up. So as you can see, my measurements from my rear to my front are dead on perfect. But that's just another safe way to find out and make sure you have in fact done your line perfectly vertical from your top mount to your bottom mount. From this step here, your best bet is to start punching some holes. As I said before, go through very carefully with a sharp drill bit, but make sure you don't keep going and you don't punch it through that aluminium extrusion, as you will damage your awning on the inside. So unfortunately for me this time, I don't seem to have a sharp 9mm drill bit, but I do have a near brand new 8mm. So I'm just going to bang that through. It may just take a little bit more to get the bolts through. But from here, with your finger, push down until you can find the dead center of that groove. Bang through. This is just a 6mm as a bit of a pilot bit. Again, push down until you find the rib. Yep. Swap over to your 8. Push down again. And push through. As you see, it really doesn't take any sort of pressure. And repeat the same again on your rear mounts. So as I just showed you on the front, push down, line your drill bit up perfectly, very carefully, punch through, find your top rib, which should be about a little bit harder to find, just there. Push through. Push through with your 8. And you're through. Now from here, you can pull your tape off if it wants to come off nicely, and unzip your awning from the front to the back. Once you have your awning all zipped up, you can I can move my old awning out of the way. Out of your nuts and bolts fixture bag, grab your 4x small M8 bolts. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's also 4 longer ones included if you're going through a larger structure. But for me, the by 30s is all I need. From here, peel back the awning, undo your nut, slide your nut into the channel, and bring the canvas over your bolt. One. This will be a little bit trickier just because of the vinyl that you've got to pull out of the way. I dare say for this one, I'm actually going to back off this plate so I've got a bit more extra space. So I'll do that off camera and I'll do the front with you. So now that I've got the rear done, we'll crack on with the front. And it's basically just the same in the repeat, but you'll be sliding it in from the other end of the awning. So slide it down, undo the strap, stretch the canvas, and you're through. And I just bang the nut on just to stop it then have to come back through again. And same for the top. You might find you will have to just pull a bit of slack with the bag. Slide it down. To there. And stretch the bag over until you are at your hole that you made. Push it through. So, although I did say do it with a 9mm, I've done this with an 8. Yes, it does bunch up a little bit, but for the fact of it doesn't bite into that channel, which I do remember the 9mm doing, I'd probably suggest, going back now, I'd probably suggest doing it with an 8mm. It will make a nice tight fit around here, which will keep your waterproofing. So in those bad storms, when your bag is zipped up, you're not using the awning, it won't allow any water to get into the bag, pooling down here on the canvas and causing it to mold. So now you've done all this, bring your bag back around and zip her all back up. God, new zips do sound good. Let's throw her on. So, lighting's probably changed a little bit. I ended up getting a little bit sidetracked and wiring in some lights. So I had a couple of side lights that I bolted to my tent a while ago, hadn't wired them, put in a little snippet of how I've done that. So while I've been getting the awning ready to go on, which is just on the floor over there, I took the opportunity to wire in some more lights. So I've had these couple of hardcore lights on the side for a while now, haven't had them wired, they've just been kind of chilling. So I thought, awning's off, access is easy, which is through that gland there. I was like, might as well do it. So, bit of a side quest, but I had 2 inlets, so I got passenger side and driver side. They come out of the car on the roof console, so I just had to bring them up, and then these are the 2 relays now. So, I didn't film any of this, it was just a side quest. This is only an awning video, but yeah, the lighting will be different between when I was getting everything ready and putting it on, and this is why. So left side and right side lights, which are controlled from inside the car. Yeah, I'll show you that as well when it's all done. So now it's time to offer it up to the car, to my brackets, and bolt it all in. So this will just be quick, easy, over and done. As we have obviously copied my other awning, but we've also done the measurements, so these bolts will line up directly with these holes, and it'll be a simple, easy task. So let's get into it. I've only ever put the top in to start with, as I just find it gives you a lot more creative freedom to be able to get the front in a lot easier. And if everything goes to plan, it should be as simple as line up one, line up top, and we're in. So we will now button all this up, but as you can see, the awning's on. Simple as that. Just makes it so much easier when you do take the time to measure everything once, twice, 3 times. And as you can see, the rear plopped straight in and the front went straight in. So get all this on. Won't do it tonight because it's now 9:20. But I'll get it out in the morning and I'll pull it out and show you what it's actually made of. So, cheers for watching. Morning guys, it's a couple of days later, but I finally got the awning all set up. Bearing in mind it is about 8 AM out in the wheat belt, so sun is pretty low still. But I thought I'd give you a quick look around while it's all set up. So the main difference between the Storm Chaser and the OG are the Windies flaps. So these are good for up to 10 to 15 knots worth of wind, freestanding. And if you are in any gusts higher than that, they just suggest to put the leg down and rope it down. But they do give you 4 guide ropes and pegs to do so. Absolutely stoked with this awning. And then this is the strap that it comes with. As you can see, awning's all set up, gives a good amount of shade. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if this is something you want to see more of, because I'm planning to really get into this sort of modifications, how-tos, and actually getting out and using these awnings and getting out wheeling. So if this is something you like, leave us a little comment down below, and yeah, thanks for watching.